Well, hello. Thanks for stopping by. Took a little bit of a break last week from making a video, so this one's a little late coming out, but got some other work done and working on some other projects, some music projects. So back here in SanShabbadoo, and I just want to think about what to do next. So I'm going to just take a little look at all of our info views. Our electricity seems to be doing quite well. I am thinking of taking out the windmills and replacing them with another geothermal power plant. I'm not sure if I'll get to that this week or not. Water, we seem to be doing pretty well with that. Our pump is outperforming our sewage treatment. We will need to add another sewage treatment plant before too long. Garbage seems to be doing okay. I think I have something on one side, something on the other side here. Yeah. So that's doing all right. What else? Happiness, yeah. Everyone seems to be pretty happy, except for this person in this one for some reason. They're a little bit less happy. Healthcare. I could use a little bit better healthcare coverage. I know it probably doesn't affect the game as much. I think I'm going to need maybe this spot over here, or over here actually, might be a good place for a like a medical clinic. I don't know, maybe over here. There's all these commercial spots. Right here actually would probably be a pretty good place for that. Okay, we'll do that. The levels doing okay. I need to figure out something down here to raise the property value down here. Some sort of a park or something. I have a custom asset that I might use. I don't know. We'll see about that. What else? Traffic. I wish it were higher than 84%, but there's really, when you look at it, there's really only a couple of spots. I might need to try figure out a better solution for this intersection than what we have right now with that roundabout. Pollution, pretty well contained. Noise, I think that's been pretty well planned for, putting a little bit of a buffer zone between the industrial and commercial and the residential. Fire protection, okay, yeah. I think I was planning on building over here next to the tram depot, thinking of building a fire and possibly police station. Definitely a fire needs to be there, and maybe another one down here. Maybe right here next to the school, next to this football field would be a good spot for that. Crime looks okay. I guess I don't need a police station, but I do need fire, and at some point we'll need some sort of police coverage in this direction. Transit. I was thinking I might, if I get to it this week, add some buses. We don't have any bus lines yet, and I'm thinking that the bus depot also can go over here next to the tram depot. Sort of keep that sort of mini industrial area where we've got the recycling center and the bus and tram depots. Sort of a semi-industrialized service area. I guess I should just call it a service area. And then I'm thinking I might do a little residential development up here. Maybe extend these residential areas here, possibly over here too, sort of extend them this way. Eventually there's going to be some train stations over this way, probably some sort of a cargo station this way. We haven't unlocked the trains yet. Population, outside connections, that one looks to be doing okay. So this is how I can tell if I need more of the vanilla industry, right? How much is being exported. And so right now it looks like we're exporting more than we're importing. I try to keep it somewhat balanced, just to keep the traffic down. Too many exports make more traffic, too many imports make more traffic. So that's one of my traffic managing strategies. The land value, wow, the land value is really high here. That's good. Less so in other places. I'll think about what to do about that. What else? Leisure areas. Yeah, see, I need some sort of a leisure area type of a thing down here. I'm not sure what. I think I have a little industrial park that I picked up off of the workshop by Few Candy. She makes those really great little assets to fit in some small areas and help boost your leisure. What else? Heating, not using that. Traffic routes. Road maintenance, haven't started doing that yet. Tourism. Oh, okay. The greenbelts are actually a little bit of a tourist attraction. That's nice. That looks like it's fairly well balanced so far. Not using tours, park maintenance, industry areas. Haven't really delved much into that. I was thinking if I have a chance today, I might start adding a forestry area. I'll probably want to put an intersection here, a little service interchange, and then possibly a forestry area somewhere over here. Maybe I can connect to this service point here, so this will be another place where there is a connection between the residential and commercial industrial. And then over here, this is not the right view for that. Over here, obviously, this is going to be an ore industry area, right? So residential here, little buffer zone, ore industry here, and then forestry probably right here next to the interchange, and then possibly a little connection for service vehicles here. Okay. Anything else? Not using that, not using that. Post offices. I did build one post office. I'm going to have to learn a little bit more about how the post office works, because this is the first time I've ever even built a post office. So I will have to investigate that some. It seems like that the post office makes a little bit of noise, not too much. Okay. So I can place it maybe close to the residential area. All right. In the pedestrian areas, I think that's pretty much everything. A lot to do, a lot of work to do. Need to expand my residential and commercial areas. So that is, I think, a key focus. I think that'll probably be the first thing that I work on, and it seems like this is probably going to need to be a little time lapse. All right, first thing we're going to do here is extend the road network, make some new frames. I want to work with the terrain here. So this arterial is going to kind of go around this little valley, kind of across here. Need to fix the terrain here. This is something you can't tell, but I'm clicking really fast with the level tool, and sometimes I like doing that. Find it easier than using the slope tool. This is just going to be a little dead-end road, just a few houses. I want to leave a little green space there next to the tram line. Probably going to extend the greenbelt in there. And then that's the little collector road that has some commercial. I'm going to continue putting some commercial in there. This is going to be our first little residential frame. And again, I want to leave enough space next to the arterial road there to be able to put some more green belt in there. I'm just using Move It to move all of the road to the terrain height level, and clearing out some trees with the forest brush. I'm planning to put some sort of a unique building in that spot there. I think some park-like building would be good. I was looking at the some of the parts of China. They're a little bit too big. The one that fits pretty well is the bird and bee sanctuary. It fits right down in that little valley. So this collector road is also going to connect back to the arterial over here. And I'm curving that around eventually for a train station there, and just extending those little residential local roads. Giving it just a little bit more space here. I want to make sure I have enough to make a good green belt. I want to make sure there's just a nice space there. I think that space underneath there is going to be saved for something else. Maybe I can start a university there or something. Okay, so it's a district now. I put the self-sufficient buildings and the local organic produce. Here I'm leveling out where the zones are going to be. I still am probably going to need a little bit more space between these sections. I'm just trying to get the roads to be nice and smooth. Use Move It and holding down Alt to snap the curves so that they fit with the adjoining segments. I have a little issue here with the tram line somehow getting broken. Pretty easy to fix that. Okay, now what am I doing? Oh, I think I decided to go ahead and upgrade this section of road and finish out this little dead-end street. Make some pedestrian paths so it's easy for the residents to get to the tram stop. Decided that maybe I don't need quite so much space there. Scoot it in a little bit. And again, I like to level out the areas where the zones are going to be, just to keep it from creating big terrain tears when the zones grow in. Decided to just make those 3 deep there, just so there's a little bit of space between the edge of the building and where the terrain, the elevation starts to change. Doing that here too for the commercial areas. This is a pretty big transition in elevation, so I think I'm going to leave some of those zones, some of that area unzoned. Some of the grid spots, I'm just going to leave them. I decided to skip that one there because I'm probably going to need to deal with the transition in elevation. Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier, putting a medical clinic over here in this commercial zone. Fits nicely with the low-density commercial assets. Put a little parking lot there, and with most of the parking lots, I actually want to try to connect them to the residential roads. It probably doesn't matter too much, but the idea is that the people are driving from their houses and then parking to walk through the commercial area. So yeah, this is what I was talking about, needing that transitional space, because once the building came in, it really flattens the land out and was digging a little, I guess I don't know what the technical term is for that. Okay, I said I was going to put a fire station there. And I'm using the no-zone road on those two collectors there, just so that the zones will line up with the local roads and there won't be any conflict. I like to make sure only the local roads, for the most part, especially in residential areas, have the zone grid, and that the collector roads don't, and the arterials, of course, won't have anything on them zoned, unless it is commercial area. And despite my leaving space there between the areas, you can see it still created some terrain tearing because of the differences in elevation, so I'm going to have to address that. So let me tell you about the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees. They're right here in SanShabbadoo, in this little valley. They have a sanctuary. I'm going to make it fit in here, smooth out a little bit using the trick with the leveling tool and spamming the mouse button. And then next I'm going to develop this little hilltop area. Just sort of flatten it out, give it some shape, surround it with a key wall, and here I'm sneaking a road around the back, connecting it with that collector road. There's a bit of a change in elevation here. So just a little hilltop area, not much room. Be able to fit a few houses in there. And then the space in between there is going to be sort of filled in with trees to create a pollution buffer and sound buffer, and really just a visual buffer, right? The recycling center creates quite a lot of pollution. So this is the key wall. I like to use the parallel mode on the network multi-tool. That way I can get right up next to the sidewalk there. And then move it, adjusting the height to the node on the road there. And again, adjusting to the height of the road node. And then here, I'm just going to bring it down to the level of the road and then use the node controller, change the angle so it will fuse nicely with that sidewalk. This is the biofuel bus depot, so we're going to be able to start putting in some bus lines. So just trying to take care of some services here. One of the things that I'm planning to do is to start using some of the bus-only road and bus-only pedestrian roads to Oh, here's where I'm adding that other fire station. To connect the different networks, to connect the commercial network with the residential network, because the service vehicles and the buses can travel between the networks on those types of roads. But then the cars and the trucks have to stay separated. All right, so a lot of space there. Put a big park asset. Then I can start connecting it in with some of our little greenbelt network custom assets. Again, these are available on the Steam Workshop. You can find the link in the description. They're pretty straightforward. It's just some pedestrian paths, some benches, some trees and vegetation. And then what it does is it gives you a little bit of tourism, leisure, entertainment radius, all the things that a park asset would give you. It's not overpowered, but it's just a little bit better than just building the paths and the trees, right? Because it gives you just a little bit of official park area and adds that boost to your land value. And clearly there's still not enough space between these buildings, so I think I'm going to just take away part of the zone, make them 3 deep instead of 4 deep, and then maybe I can smooth the terrain. Now I'm upgrading the little hilltop residential area, filling it with some residential zones. And next is where I start to connect the networks with these pedestrian bus roads. I don't need those little pedestrian paths anymore, but I do need to move this node just so it doesn't look quite so broken there. I'm going to remove that pedestrian crossing. It's not beautiful, but I think it will work. This one looks better because of the way the roads connect. And this looks pretty natural as well. And then I noticed that this pedestrian path is going directly through the pylons. Can't have that. And I added another post office here. We'll see how that affects the postal coverage. And now back to our noisy industrial area. This is that industrial prop park that I mentioned by a few candy. I'm going to try to find some places to fit a few of these in here and see if we can't help our industrial zones to level up. Just some surface painter to make it more integrated with that corner. Got to fix that terrain there. Still a little bit lumpy, and there's some vegetation that's not supposed to be there. And boy, those factories are noisy. I probably going to lower that in the mix. Really loud in my ears right now. I think I can fit one here in between the recycling area, and then just scoop these water treatment plants a little closer together. And then this area, I've been wanting to maybe build a little fenced-in area behind the recycling center and sort of around this park. So, fence there. But that pathway needs to be moved, adjusted to make room for the fence. I don't want people to walk directly through the fence. That wouldn't make much sense. Just to kind of make use of all of the available space here. Now, that the terrain dips down there because of the highway going from ground to elevated. Maybe I can cover that up with some props. So right now I just basically have a few industrial props. I haven't added many. I think just those containers. So I'm just working with vanilla props right now. I'm just trying to fill some boxes in here to kind of cover up where that terrain dips down. Just some stacks of things, make it look like a little storage area. I might need to visit the workshop and get, I think actually I have, but it's not enabled right now. I think I have some industrial props that I could use. Maybe just like a forklift or something like that. Possibly a shed. Not very experienced in this kind of detailing, so it doesn't look too great. But it's definitely an improvement over what it was before. Make sure I leave a little bit of space so it looks like you can drive in and out. And yeah, just some more stuff sort of stacked up. And I think I can squeeze another one of those little industrial parks here. I know I'm using them quite a lot, but they'd really kind of fill out the space, and they blend so naturally with the industrial buildings. They really just look like an extension of the recycling center there. So you don't even notice that they're a separate little asset. They just look like right in line with the details. And that was a bit of a mistake. Didn't mean to kill that building, but that's all right. It'll grow back. Now you can see the leisure's all in the blue. So mission accomplished. Those buildings should start leveling up. And this is another one of those things I noticed where I needed to add a few shrubs. Forgot to do that in the last detailing. So as I said before, I need one more of these water treatment plants, but having a little bit of trouble making it fit. It makes the terrain pop up there and creates a corner. So I'm just going to try to adjust the key wall here to fit that corner so that it doesn't look too terribly out of place. And I'm not sure what to do with that little corner there. I'll probably just leave it empty. Although I could probably sneak something in there in that little corner space in between the highway. And another big empty concrete area. Just gonna put some more containers, some more barrels and whatnot, just to make it look like it is being used. This would be a good location for a forklift or some trucks, things like that. Maybe a crane. Okay, nothing too fancy. Yeah, noticed some terrain, elevation differences. Try to accommodate that. Doesn't look too bad. I'm okay with it. It's if you don't look at it too close, they look like it makes sense. Now this is something I was thinking about doing a long time ago, but I was waiting until I had more money, which is to add this sports hall gymnasium building right here next to the high school. Here's another little kind of awkward space, triangular space. Sneak in some parking maybe for the football field, and then some food trucks. Before the game you can get a little bite to eat, or after the game you can get a little bit of comfort food, drown your sorrows a bit once you witness another brutal defeat. Been witnessing a few too many defeats for my NFL team recently. So a little comfort food, take the edge off. And here I'm putting in our first bus line. For the most part, it's really just mirroring the route of the trams. Slightly different roads, but essentially the same path. I might change that later. At this point, there doesn't really seem to be a huge need for buses and trams, but we'll see. We'll see how that does. We'll check it later and see if it is getting used. All right, looks like this was successful, giving me just enough space to smooth out that elevation difference. And now, just going to fill out our zones here, leaving that area there for the greenbelt next to our arterial road. So that's become the pattern, right? Arterial roads don't have any zoning, but they have greenbelt, and that is a buffer. And then within the residential areas, there's a bit of light commercial, which is the organic produce, because it's not noisy. And then in this area, that commercial zone with the organic produce can actually be a bit of a buffer. Oh, look, there's already people using the buses. So it is practical. It is being used. I guess it makes sense. So yeah, the organic local produce on one side of the street there, and then regular commercial on the other side of the street. So actually using that green commercial zone as a buffer for the noise. This is our first public library. I was planning to put some sort of an educational facility there. Originally, I was thinking I was going to put a university there, but not really enough room for that. I need to plan out something different for that, and plus they're not unlocked yet. And I often forget about the need for libraries to boost the overall education. So I plan to put some more of those in and try to keep up with the, as I expand the city, make sure I leave space to add libraries. Okay, good spot for another tiny little playground. This is also another Few Candy Park. This area, I think, is big enough. I think I'm going to make another little dead-end road and add a few more residences. And then I believe I'll just fill in the rest of that area with some pathways and just kind of try to connect that park with all the residential areas and with the bee and bird sanctuary. So the buildings have grown in and messed up my smoothing. I think I still have enough space to smooth them out. And maybe I can fit some public art in here. I've almost gone through and used all of the public art pieces that I have. Fill in some space with some rocks. I guess at some point I'm probably going to have to use some of these sculptures in more than one spot. This is a little Madonna and Child sculpture. That's one side effect of wanting to put so much public art in my park areas, is that I have basically used up all of the public art assets that I've been able to find on the workshop. I'm tempted to start trying to make my own, but I've already got so many different projects going on. I think learning Blender is probably not something I need to jump into right now. Like I said before, I've been real busy on my music projects, and that's why I took a little bit longer to finish this video, but I am going to continue the series. I'm just about ready to buy a new computer because it's very close to the release date of City Skylines 2. This little laptop can barely keep up as it is, so I definitely need an upgrade. And it will improve the quality of my videos as well. More detailing, more greenbelt. Basically, every tram line, every arterial road, even some of the collector roads are going to be flanked by greenbelts, pathways, lots of trees and nature. It's really becoming the main theme of this build. It started off with the concept of keeping the commercial industrial network separate from the residential network, road networks, and reducing traffic with that. But the public spaces, the green belts, that's what's really been making me feel excited about this build. I really am enjoying just the sheer volume of green spaces here, and also just the way that is affecting the transportation issues by reducing the number of cars on the road, making the city very walkable and so it's an aesthetic and a practical thing. And like I've often said before, and even some of my students picked up on this, right away they said, I want to live there. And that's really the point of this game, isn't it? Is to create a little world and imagine what it would be like to live there. And so this is sort of becoming my vision of the ideal city. Lots of green space, not a whole lot of traffic. You can walk or bike wherever you need to go. And along the way, you can see some really neat public artwork. Lots of things to do, right? Just the ideal lifestyle. Okay, so this area that was going to be part of a university build, I decided to put that library there, and so now I have this extra little space here. And since the the residential demand rather, is still quite high, I think this is another opportunity for a little dead-end road. Maybe I should take some of these dead-end roads and create some little cul-de-sacs at the end. I haven't really thought about that, but I do have the node controller. I can stretch the ends of the roads and create some little cul-de-sacs. And this is where I realized, oh yeah, I have unlocked the tree-lined and grass-lined roads now, so I should start putting those in. The last build I did, I put these yew trees on the road, and they're great, but they really almost cover up the road completely. So I've been really enjoying these horse chestnut trees, so I think that is a good choice for the roads. I'm going to leave that spot open just because of the terrain, and also it's an opportunity to connect with the greenbelt network. And I filled this space in with vegetation. I should have known that I would want to connect a pedestrian path here, so maybe I could just sort of scoot it out of the way, make some room. And again, connecting to the tram line. This one can meander down to the intersection. Make a connection here. And another opportunity for one of these park assets. And the easy way to make those greenbelt park assets integrate with the paths around them, of course, is to continue the hedge lines. However, I am thinking that I don't want to put hedge lines on every single pathway. For one thing, it's time consuming, and the other thing is that after a while, if every pathway has a hedge lining on it, it starts to get a little bit repetitive, a little bit boring, I guess. Okay, well, having said that, I do want to at least connect some hedge lines with those parks, just so they look like they're all connected into one big park area. I haven't figured out a better way of doing that yet, so that is going to be the MO, at least for now. Here's another opportunity for a nice rock. Maybe another one here. That one looks like it fits the space pretty well. Fill them in with some vegetation. I think there's a space here for a little pathway in between commercial and residential areas. More hedge lining. Some rhododendrons. This one needs a bit of adjusting. Got my hedges a little bit crooked there. Getting a little bit sloppy with the line tool here. Probably take less time to just take my time and make sure it's right at the beginning rather than having to go back and adjust it later. All right, just filling in the areas with some veg and some forest brush. I'm really liking that blooming jacaranda tree mixed in with the other green trees. That little bit of purple just really pops out. It's really nice. All right, I think I'll be quiet for a minute and just play a little bit of music for the rest of this time lapse. neighborhood. Lots and lots of natural space and all of the Green City's commercial and residential buildings. I might be going a little over the top with this greenbelt network. Right now, it's the part of the build that is the most satisfying. At the end of the street here, I added this lovely little picnic and play park by Larry Skylines. Fits nicely there. And down at the other end of the street, I have this Simple Parks. There's two of them. They fuse nicely together. This is the sandstone version, also by Larry Skylines. This will be added to the Steam Workshop assets list for SanShabbadoo. The link for that list is in the description. And here we have our bee and bird haven, and it is connected to the Greenbelt network and integrated into this little valley here. And I like the way it connects with that park with trees there. Some public art, some rocks, some vegetation. And then, of course, down here at the end, another feature, which is the library. I'm planning to add another library over here at our high school campus, where we added our sports hall and gymnasium. So I think that is it for this episode. We've got our before shot and our after shot. Took a long time to finish this episode, and I'll try to get back on schedule. Just too many projects. I'm spread too thin. About to reach that big town milestone, so that should happen next episode. And I need to think of some names for these districts. Please leave your suggestions in the comments. Hopefully next time I'll have my new system, and I am going to get City Skylines 2. Don't know if I'm ready to start a City Skylines 2 series yet. The last thing I need to do is to spread myself even thinner. But thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you'll enjoy the cinematics, and I hope you'll come back and see us again here in SanShabbadoo. So long.